Welcome to my video. In this tutorial I'll be showing you how you can use the toolbox to work in the Coreldraw environment. And for the sake of this video I'll be making use of Corel 17. Now the first tool I have here is the pick tool. This is the pick tool. It helps us to select, to position and to transform objects. You can see, to select, to position and to transform object like this. You can see that. So that is the use of the pick tool. The next object I have here is the freehand pick tool. It does something similar to the pick tool. It helps to select object by using a freehand selection marquee, position and transform object. So works similarly to the pick tool. Now let's move to the next one, which is the shape tool. This object helps us to shape our objects. The tool helps us to shape our objects, to edit a curved object or text character by manipulating the nodes. These are the nodes of the objects. 1, 2, it has 4 nodes. So at each of these nodes I can reshape the node by clicking on the shape tool. Then I come down and drag. You can see that. So that is the use of the shape tool. The next tool to be used here is the smooth tool. The smooth tool is used to smoothing the edge of your lines. Used to smoothing the edge of your lines. That's the use of the smooth tool. To smooth object by dragging along its out. The next tool to be used is the smear tool. The smear tool is used to change the edge of an object by dragging along its outline. I'll drag along the outline. Can you see? By dragging along the outline, can you see what is happening? By dragging along the outline. That is the work of the smear tool. I'm holding down my mouse button to do the dragging. The next tool here is the twirl tool. The twirl tool is used to add twirl effect by dragging along the outline of an object. You can see, by dragging along the outline, I'm beginning to add a twirl. Can you see that? If I remain in one position, the twirl becomes more intensive at that position. Now after that, the next tool I want to talk about is the attract tool. The attract tool helps to reshape object by attracting nodes to the cursor. It attracts nodes to the cursor. This is my object. Click on the attract tool. Attract nodes, can you see, to the cursor. Attract nodes to the cursor. Can you see that? The next I want to show you is the repel tool. The repel tool reshapes an object by pushing nodes away from the cursor. It's push nodes. Can you see that? It's pushing the node away from the cursor. Can you see that? Pushes the node away from the cursor. The next tool I want to show you is the smudge tool. The smudge tool works by changing the change. It changes the shape of an object by dragging along its outline. Now let's drag along the outline of the object and see the changes its effects on that object. Can you see? Can you see that? That is the work of the smudge tool. The next tool I want to show you now is the roughen tool. The roughen tool distorts the edge of an object by dragging along its outline. Now let's drag along the outline of the object with the roughen tool and see the effect. So it roughens, reshapes an object by distorting the edge of the object. Let's reapply it again. Let's magnify and see. Can you see that? Look at the roughness it's applying to the edge of the. Can you see the roughness? Can you see the roughness? So that is the work of the roughen tool. Now let's move to the next selection, starting with what? The crop tool. The crop tool. Now the crop tool removes the area outside a selection. This is the selection. So you press enter key. The area outside that selection has been deleted for you. That is the work of the crop tool. The next is the knife tool. The knife tool is the next one. It helps us to slice an object to split it into two separate objects. Now how do we make use of that? I'm going to slice this object into two. I stop at this edge. Can you see that? Then I'm able to remove this and also separate this from it. The next tool we are going to look at now is the virtual segment delete tool. How does this work? It removes overlapping segments in objects. It removes overlapping segments in objects. Can you see that? It removes overlapping segments in objects. Then the next I want to explain is the eraser tool. The eraser tool removes unwanted area in a drawing. Yeah. Now let me draw an image and then use the eraser tool to remove the unwanted area in the image. You can see this. I'm removing unwanted area from my image. Look at my image now. Some areas have been removed from the image. That is the use of the eraser tool. Down here you can make your eraser thicker so that it can be easy for you to erase a larger part in just few minutes. So when it is thicker, then to be easier to us to erase a larger part in just few minutes. Can you see that? Can you see that? That's the work of the eraser tool. Now the next tool I want to look at, let's move to the next selection, is the zoom tool. When you left click on an object after clicking on the zoom tool, the object becomes magnified. When you right click, it becomes. When you right click on the object becomes demagnified. When you left click, the object becomes magnified. The next tool I want to look at is the pan tool. This one drags hidden areas of a drawing into view without changing the zoom level. So if I don't want to change the zoom level, I just want to drag the hidden area into view, I use my pan tool. The next selection is the free hand tool. The free hand can be used for drawing freehand lines. It can also be used for drawing a straight line, whereby you click, you release the left mouse button and you click again, then you have your straight line. Or you click and hold down your shift button to have a perfectly straight line. The next one I want to talk about is the 2-point line. The 2-point line, this tool helps you to draw a straight line by drawing from starting point to the end point. Now look at this. I drag. For the freehand I don't have to drag, but for this you have to drag and release and the line stays. You drag and release. You drag towards the direction you want and you release, then the line is effected. If you want a perfectly straight line, don't forget to always hold down your shift key. That gives you a perfectly straight line. Let me just clear the screen by Ctrl A so that we can have more space to continue our work. So I just use select or Ctrl A and I just deleted all the content available. Now I'm moving down to the next tool. The next tool is called the bezier tool. The bezier tool draws curves. It draws curves one segment at a time. Can you see that? 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 So that's how to use this, the bezier tool. Then after that we have the pen tool. The pen tool draws curve in segments and preview each segment as you draw. Now let's apply that. You click and you release your left mouse button. Can you see that? That's how the pen tool works. The next one is the B-spline tool. The B-spline tool draws curved lines by setting control points that shape the curve without breaking it into segments. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. That is the work. I double click to end it of the B-spline tool. The next is the polyline tool. The polyline tool draws connected curves and straight lines in one continuous action. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Good morning. So the next is the 3-point curve tool. The 3-point curve tool helps you to draw a curve by dragging from the starting point to the end point and then positioning the center point. You drag to the end point, then the center point, you are able to position it where you want it to be. The next tool I want to introduce you to is the Smart Draw tool. It's used to convert freehand strokes to basic shapes and curved smoothing curves. I move on to the next one. The next one I want to show you is the artistic media tool. This tool helps to add artistic brush, spray and calligraphic effects to your work by using freehand strokes. Look at this. Then from here you can make your selections. I want strokes, brush strokes, food. I just clicked on food. Then footprints. Okay. Music. From here you can make several selections. You can change the selections from there, and so on and so forth. For brush strokes, so on. So that is how to make use of your artistic media tool. The next is the rectangle tool. Draws squares and rectangles by dragging along the window. You can see. You can apply color to it over here. The next I want to show you is the 3-point rectangle. It helps to draw rectangle at an angle. You can see rectangle at an angle. The next I want to show you is the ellipse tool. This draws circles and ellipse by dragging in drawing window. And we have the other one, which is 3-point ellipse, to draw a circle at an angle that you want. The next tool is the polygon tool that draws polygon on the window. Here you can increase the polygon size. The next tool I want to introduce you to is the star tool. For drawing star, you can also adjust the number of appearance of the star hub in the property bar. The next tool after the star tool is the complex star. You can also make it much more, change the appearance in the property bar. The next tool I want to introduce you to is the graph tool. You can use this for drawing graphs in this environment. The next tool I want to introduce you to is this spiral tool for drawing spiral in this environment. You can increase the number of the spiral here so that when you draw the next one, it's more twirl. The next I want to show you is a basic tool for drawing basic shapes. Come down here and change your shape to draw a different one. The next one I want to show you is the arrow shapes. From here you can get different types of arrows which can be drawn on your window. The next one is the flowchart. You can get different types of flowchart images here which you can apply to your file. The next on my tool here is the banner tool. You can get different types of banners with this. Helps you to get different types. You can now come here and choose different types of banner as you want it. The next on the tool here is the call out tool. This is used for call outs. When you want to represent what someone is saying, you can come to call out and pick an image where that you'll be using for that. Now I'm clearing the screen. Now the next tool is the text tool. The text tool is for writing. There are two ways of writing in this environment. You can either write as artistic text or as paragraph text. Now by just clicking, it's going to be artistic text, which you can easily carry around. But you can also write as paragraph text by creating a paragraph, dragging. After clicking on your text tool, you drag along your page, then you have a paragraph. This is where your text will be contained. So that's aside. Now let's move to the next tool, which is the table tool. You use this for drawing a table. You can select number of rows and columns up, down here. So in each of the table you can write, like I am doing now. You click into the table, the columns or the cells, and you can type. The text will be displayed in it. Now let's move to the next tool. The next tool after the table tool is the dimension tool for measurement. This is specifically for measurement. Let me draw my rectangle and try to do some measurement. I'll draw a rectangle. Okay, are you following me? Now I'm going to bring out a triangle because I may need to display the dimension. So the dimension tool are used for showing the dimensions of an object, the length of the side of objects. So let me start by using the parallel dimension. So after clicking, I click on this spot and I drag to the next spot. I release my mouse pointer and the size is displayed. Let me do it again. I drag down to the other place, I release and I move it up and click. Then the size of that image is displayed. Let me show you by using my zoom tool so that it will be clear to you. You can see 8.3 is the size. Next here I have the horizontal and vertical tool. Click, drag to the next point, then move forward and click. The size dimension is displayed. I can also use this for horizontal measurements. You can see. Then the next one is the angular dimension. I start from the middle. For measuring the angle, you release and drag up and click, then click again. You can see the angle is given as what? As 90 degrees. So then I move to the next one, which is what? Straight line connector. This one is used for connecting images together. So any of it that you want to use just for connection, click from here, drag to the next one. That's all. It's just for connecting images together. The next one is the shadow tool. The shadow tool is used for creating shadow on your image. You click and you drag backward. You click and you drag backward and your shadow is created. Let's see. shadow. Let's fill the object with a color green. You can see the shadow is now being displayed. After this, the next is the contour tool for making contour on your image. It's for making contour on your image. So I'll click on the contour tool and apply it to my image. You can see, look at that, the contour has been applied to the image. The contour has been applied to the image. So I want you to see it better. By zooming it, you can see better. The contour, I want to also change it in a way that will make you to see it in a better way. Okay, and the level of the contour is just one level. That's why it's just one inside. Next tool here is the, after the contour tool, I have the blend tool for blending two images together. This is green and I want it blended to a circle which is yellow. Then I click on my blend tool and drag from here to this other one. You can see I've blended the two images together. The next tool I have here is the contour tool. The work of the contour tool is to transform object by applying push and pull, zipper or twister effect to that image. Let me color it distort tool. You can see the way I've distorted the image. I've just distorted my image. Now the next tool I want to explain now. So the next tool I would like to talk about is the distortion tool. The distortion tool can be used to distort the edges of your an image, generally an image, like I've just done. The next tool I will be talking about is the contour tool to make a contour. I've talked about the blend tool, I've talked about the distort tool, and now I want to talk about the envelope tool. Let me draw an image, then apply envelope. The purpose of this is to change the shape of an object by applying and dragging the nodes of that object. Look at the nodes here. These are the nodes. So you can do an adjustment from the nodes when you activate the envelope tool. The next I want to talk about is the extrude tool. This one turns your image to a 3D format. Now look at, if I give it a color, look at that, it turns my image to a 3D image format. So now let's move. I want to move to the next selection, which is transparency. This one helps you to make an object transparent, and when an object is transparent, it can stand. If you place a transparent object on another object, you will be able to see what is underneath that object. So this tool partially reveals image areas underneath the object that is being made transparent. Now let's apply that. You can see now I can view the image that is under our image, which is the rectangle. I can view the circle under the rectangle. Now, so lastly on the toolbox, I want to talk about the mesh tool. The mesh tool. This can be used to mix color on an image. You just click into each of the spots and you apply your colors into the spots. You can also work more with the mesh tool by using the property bar to adjust the amount of mesh you want to have on your image. Look at this now. So with this amount of mesh, I can give this a separate color. Let's say this is black, then this is white, and this is blue, and this is green, yellow, and this is red, and this is purple, like that, just like that, until you are able to apply colors to everything you have. So that is how to use a mesh fill. I'll be stopping my tutorial here on the use of the toolbox. Thank you.